Hello, my friends. We have been waiting for this moment. We've been waiting for this moment a long time.
Joe Arsenal with the front line with Joe and Joe. Once again, let us go into the breach. The crowd boos Trudeau as he takes the podium for a speech at the 2023 North American Indigenous Games in Nova Scotia. Play the clip.
Hello, my friends. We have been waiting for this moment. We've been waiting for this moment a long time after the 2020 edition of the North American Indigenous Games had to be postponed because of the pandemic.
Couple points. I did not know. You learn something every day, by the way. I did not know that Canada had Indigenous Games. Didn't know that. Interesting. Point two, the people in Nova Scotia don't like Justin Trudeau. Point three, no one in Canada likes him. No one, except the people who vote for him. But I think they're a little crazy. They think there's more than two genders. This is unacceptable news. Danielle Smith tweets out a warning. She says the cost of Ottawa's unachievable 2030 oil and gas cap on the energy industry will be this: 1.5 million barrels a day gone, 9,500 jobs lost, and billions in lost revenue for needed social programs. She's calling for a more reasonable timeline for carbon neutrality by 2050. Couple comments. All those things I just noted, $1.5 million barrels gone in a day, 9,500 jobs lost, billions in lost revenues for needed social programs. And what Justin Trudeau says about that? Who cares? Who cares? I don't care, because I care about reaching an unachievable goal at the cost of people. Who cares, Danielle? That's what he's saying. And as far as the carbon neutral timeline extension to 2050, and what I say to that? Tough. We're going to do this as long as it takes. I'm not going to put a timeline on it. People count more. That's even unreasonable, because you're not going to reach that either. That's a compromise, just putting them off for now. It'll come around sooner than later, and people will be in the same boat that they're in now. Listen, I'm all for cleaner energy. We're not there. And as a result, people are suffering. 2030 sustainable goals, all that, 1.5 million barrels gone a day, 9,500 jobs lost. Any Justin Trudeau's family losing a job? Is he losing his job? Absolutely not. Billions in lost revenues needed for social programs. God knows Canada needs social programs nowadays. None of it matters, because all that matters is the sustainable goals of 2030. Justin Trudeau is going to move ahead with or without Danielle Smith. Believe it, because you don't matter. The goal matters. The Saskatchewan party blasts the NDP. They said their policies has resulted in them losing people, jobs, and opportunity. They're absolutely right. Play the clip.
Under the NDP in this province, we lost jobs and people. We lost nurses. We lost doctors. We lost teachers. We lost entrepreneurs. We lost, quite frankly, our children as they were forced to leave this province to find work. We have a choice. The NDP neglected to invest in critical infrastructure. They weren't opening up schools. They weren't opening up hospitals. They were actually shutting them down in our communities. We have a choice. The NDP increased taxes 21 times. There were tax revolts on the very steps of the legislature where myself and our colleagues work. We have a choice. And I would say most concerning in today's world, the federal wing of the NDP, they're propping up a government that seems intent on destroying the economy that we have built in this province. And we have a choice.
Couple points. The NDP is a scourge across Canada. We all know it. That's point one. Point two, love the people in Saskatchewan. Good people, solid. Point three, it's too damn cold in Saskatchewan. I know this guy is talking some truth here from the podium. Absolutely. But your kids probably left because they're freezing their ass off. Danielle Smith is flipping pancakes. What is it with pancakes and Canadians? I know you guys do maple syrup real well, but the pancake flipping thing, I don't know. Everyone's got to get their hand in that. Put your comments in the chat. First, play the clip. I don't know. I kind of don't like the way Danielle's flipping those pancakes. A little bit too cavalier-like. That's just my opinion. Pancakes are good. Don't waste them, Danielle. Seems to me that science is different in Canada, or is the only difference Justin Trudeau? BC continues to grill Danielle Smith about the picture she took with the guy who has the straight pride shirt on. They won't let it go. Play the clip.
Asking for that from the start.
Okay, Premier, one last thing I wanted to ask you about. This photo of you at Stampede with the man in the straight pride shirt. I wonder if you could explain how that happened and how you feel about it now that it happened.
Look, I'm a supporter of the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm not going to be a political billboard for anybody's messages. I don't agree with the sentiments expressed on the shirt. I get thousands of pictures that I take, especially during an event like Stampede, and I'll just be more mindful of that and ask my staff to be more mindful of those kind of messages. But I support the LGBTQ community.
Did you just not see it? Big bright green shirt, big bold letters. It was just you just missed it, or what happened there?
Look, I don't know if you've ever been in a photo lineup or at an event where hundreds of people want to take pictures with you, but you just don't read every T-shirt.
Okay. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, thanks for your time today.
Couple comments. Danielle Smith, she says she supports the LGBTQ plus community. Okay. Well, I'll tell you where I stand. I support every individual in a country, and they should have rights as an individual, should not be discriminated against, and should not be disrespected by anyone. But when it comes to marriage, marriage is between a man and a woman. Why? Because marriage produces children, and then a man and a woman rears those children. And a man cannot be a mother, and a woman cannot be a father, and each bring a unique thing to that relationship. It fosters strong children. And when children don't have that, something breaks within them, and there's no substitute. You see, same-sex marriage weakens traditional marriage because it says a substitute is equal to it, and it is not. There is no substitute. And the family is the building block of every society. And when families are strong, a society is strong. And when a society is strong, a nation is strong. And that is why when Danielle Smith says, I support the LGBT community, what she doesn't say is what I just said. No one says it because it's not politically correct, but it's true. And that's why you listen to this channel, because I'm here to speak the truth. Also, when you say you support the LGBTQ blah, blah, blah community, do you support children basically being indoctrinated in schools, in many cases being fed an ideology that's not taught in their home, particularly if those children come from Muslim families, Jewish families, Catholic families, or traditional Protestant families? You see, now you are imposing your ideology on children, on people that aren't interested in it. Is that included, Danielle, in you support the LGBTQ community? I would ask her that. That also is not politically correct. And again, my ideology as a Catholic counts too, because I pay taxes and we live in a pluralistic society. And it seems to me that some people are more equal than others. What do you say? Put your comments in the chat. I'm interested in them. Freeland speaking at Davos 2023. She mentioned something called the immaculate disinflation. What is that? Play the clip.
I'm a finance minister. And if you were to say to me, what is the one thing that G7 finance ministers, G7 governments this year could do that's actually in our power, right? We don't control COVID. We don't control global supply chains. We don't control whether there will be immaculate disinflation or not. One thing where we have some real practical levers is we can help Ukraine win clearly, definitively. And if we do that, if that happens this year, you know it as well as I do, Fareed, that would be a huge boost to the global economy.
What is this woman talking about? What is this woman talking about? These poor people have to listen to this. Like them or not, these people are some of the smartest people around. They run companies, they run countries. Like them or not, for the most part, they're smart people. They got to listen to the immaculate disinformation. And the most important thing we could do is help the Ukraine. Listen, I'm all about helping the people of the Ukraine. But are we just funding, and this is the question that people in America have to ask, the military-industrial complex. Are we just funding the endless wars, making people rich at the cost of Ukrainian lives? Listen, as far as humanitarian help, all about it. Is this a winnable war for the Ukraine? We got to start asking that question. Is this supposed to go on and on and on and on? Making people rich, living in the suburbs of Virginia in the United States? Endless wars, making people rich at the cost of lives. Got to ask that question. Maybe she should have brought that up at Davos. If she brought that up at Davos, she probably wouldn't be invited back. You think all these world leaders, except for Klaus Schwab, because I don't even know what he is. I think he's some type of guru on an ashram somewhere in Switzerland, pilfering the rich. I have no problem with him pilfering the rich. That actually makes me laugh. But I'm sort of going off on a diatribe here. Bear with me. You think all these folks you're about to listen to got the same memo? You tell me. Put your comments in the chat. Play the clip.
So let's use this window of opportunity.
We have a golden opportunity. We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset.
Build Back Better agenda.
My Build Back Better agenda?
We must build back better.
We're going to build it back better.
Build it back better.
So let's use this window of opportunity.
An unprecedented opportunity. This is our chance
to really build back better.
This is our moment to change the future for the better.
Let's use this window of opportunity.
COVID, there's huge opportunities for us.
Build back better.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset.
The Great Reset.
It's now a historical moment, a crucial moment to rebuild the future.
It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate, and rebalance our world.
You think there's some collusion there? You think all that was coincidence? Interesting. I don't think so. I think a conference call was had. At least a memo was sent. Or maybe Klaus Schwab sent out one of his ashram mantras, and everyone just sat there and went, oh. Newly elected Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow, you know the lady who rides her bike through the city? You know who she is. Anyway, she says something very interesting. She says 1/3 of the shelters in Toronto are occupied by refugees. And she asks for $160 million from Trudeau's Liberals to deal with the crisis. Play the clip.
Well, the refugees that are stranded in front of Peter Street, we know that our shelter is full. We also know that 1/3 of the residents in shelter right now are refugees. We also know that refugees is also a federal responsibility. And we need at least $160 million from the federal government to help us in sheltering these refugees. And immediately, we need the government, the federal government, and the provincial government to come up with a plan. It's a crisis. It's an emergency. There has to be a plan that can immediately shelter these folks. And there are a lot of ideas. The refugee serving agencies are very clear in what they want, and they've been asking the federal government to join the city.
Couple comments. Now, maybe this is just off the wall. You tell me, put your comments in the chat. But when you invite somebody into your country, i.e. a refugee, isn't it implied that I have something for you? Like if I was a refugee and Canada said, come into my country, I'm thinking, well, they have something for me. So therefore, I want to be there. So obviously, they go. Instead, you put them in a homeless shelter. Does that make any sense? What plan did you have? Obviously, you had no plan. You see, letting people into your country, it's not for show. You're basically saying to them, because they are human beings, I have something for you. When in fact, you absolutely don't have anything for you. That's point one. Point two, if you invite someone into your house for dinner, isn't it implied that you're going to feed them? Just on a more granular level, of course. What if you invited someone to your house for dinner and you didn't give them anything? Would they be happy with that? So the moral of this story is this. We're not serving two groups of people. One, the refugee, because we're basically saying we have something for you and we don't. We put them in a homeless shelter. And point two, you're not serving your own citizens because now you're bludgeoning them for more money. They can't even take care of themselves, never mind others. So you're failing both groups. No plan. You're not serving the refugees. You're not serving the Canadian citizens that live there. And letting people into your country shouldn't be a show. And sadly, that's just what it is. I'll speak for America. Letting people in at the southern border is about votes. Then we let them fend for themselves. They're living on the streets too. This is unacceptable news, but you know something? There are good people. There are good people in Canada, and there is hope. Play the clip.
Couple bucks.
What?
Do you have a couple dollars? I just wanted to grab the bus.
Oh, like how much?
Like $2?
Two? Okay.
Are you sure?
Just a minute.
I don't want to be a bother. If I'm being a bother.
No, it's okay. I thought I have some. Here, I have a...
Just a couple bucks. Thank you so much.
Are you sure $2 is okay?
Yeah. That's more than enough.
$2?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Why'd you help me?
We are brought up that way. Whatever you have, share. When we came to Canada, we sold everything we have back home, and that's why our children are still back home. We can't bring them. One way or the other, we'll be having people helping us. We've made up our mind that at any point, we're going to help as many as we can.
I actually wanted to surprise you guys.
Wow. So how are they going to surprise us?
So I'm going to give you these $2 back.
Okay.
And I actually got a gift for you guys. $1,000 cash.
The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. Never forget it. Never give up hope. Fight for your freedom. And believe this, the good always triumphs over evil. They're going to let him cross. He didn't get vaccinated.
Hey Canada, show the country that you stand for freedom with one of these hats from our store. Your purchase supports this channel. Check out the link in the description and order yours now.